in the past few minutes, we are up by the Parliament building, which all morning long is where the Interior Ministry troops, loyal to Yanukovych and his government, have been biding their time all morning. But just in the past few minutes, in the past 5 minutes, there has been action. All of the troops seem to be mobilizing. They've been running with their shields towards buses which are lined up flanking the Parliament building. We have heavy armor vehicles that are now revving up their motors. Now, that said, we do not know where these troops are headed. We tried to ask them as they were running to the buses, where are they going? They refused to say anything. So one person said, one of the interior troops said they're going home. That seems unlikely. What we do see, though, is there were about 500 to 600 troops in this square by Parliament a few minutes ago. They are now all dispersing. They are running. They are in rank and file, holding their shields, running towards waiting buses. Those buses are now leaving now. The Parliament building is about half a kilometer from Maidan, but it's unclear at this point what they are actually doing. They told us earlier that they were awaiting orders. We know that the Ukrainian Parliament has passed a law yesterday that forbids them from firing on the demonstrators pending the outcome of negotiations between the opposition and the president. And as of now, we have heard that the president is going to be offering early elections. We don't know what the next actions are. The police are not willing to say at this point. We will probably know in the next half hour or so. But what we can say for sure at this moment, as I speak to you, is hundreds of Interior Ministry troops armed with riot shields are in action, are running down from the Parliament building towards waiting buses. And they seem like they have a definite, determined purpose here.
Doug, as you were just saying there, obviously the news is just filtering through about the fact that early elections could be called. What has been the mood among protesters? You know, what is their reaction, rather?
Good question, Annette, and we've been asking the protesters that question all morning. Essentially, it's still a very defiant attitude. The protesters are not willing to drop that original demand. They want to see Yanukovych out. The protesters are not a monolithic bloc. They don't all speak in one voice, but the one lowest common denominator, if you want to call it that, the one thing they all agree on is they perceive Yanukovych as a man who's corrupt, whose political time has expired, and they say that he and his government are nothing more than a bunch of bandits, and elections cannot come soon enough. So while they would welcome an agreement that would call for early presidential and parliamentary elections, they are going to wait and see, because they have learned over the past weeks and months from their perspective that Yanukovych is a man who they cannot take at his word. They see him as playing for time, perhaps trying to bide his time. He's not seen as having Ukraine's interests at heart, but rather his own interests, protecting his own power and privilege and the men around him and his party, the Party of Regions. So protesters, very defiant, not trusting Yanukovych, nor for that matter, really trusting their own opposition leaders. A lot of them say that they're still waiting for a real leader to emerge, someone who could unify them.